It's an interesting word. What does it actually mean?
Corpus is a very good question. I'm not asked that very often. We're just going to take these things for granted. But corpus essentially is a collection of a body of material. And in this particular context, it means a collection of written materials in Gaelic. Okay, so, and that would include dictionaries, it would include grammars, it would include storybooks, it would include novels, it would include parliamentary papers, children's literature, poetry, everything. Because for any healthy language and culture, you do need that, as well as the oral culture and the oral medium. You also need the written thing, especially for education.
Okay, so it's like a collection of words and sentences.
Yes, I suppose it is. It's a collection of words, of sentences, of idioms, and how the language. And if you gather a big corpus like we have done here in the University of Glasgow, corpus in Gaelic, we now have 20 million words together. So you can actually, at the click of a button, we can now see patterns that we could never ever see before. So if you look at, for example, any of the traditional grammar books, and we have a number of them, this is from the mind of one individual. But now we can actually dip into the minds of hundreds of Gaels over several centuries, and we can begin to see new things, to ask new questions, and to say very interesting things, not just about Gaelic, but about languages in general.
And what about this specific project then, the Gaelic Corpus Development Project?
So the Gaelic Corpus Development Project follows on from another sciential project that we call Leacag, and that's about getting into the sinews and the muscles and the heart and the spirit of the language. And one of the things that we did in that project that we were asked to do was to make mullion, what's that in English, to make recommendations on a new framework for supporting corpus planning in Gaelic. And that's what we've done. Now this project, the acronym is Leacag, and I quite like that, because it means a little flagstone. It's almost like the first step or the first stepping stone, if you like, in a much larger piece of work. So really what it is, it's a pilot to try and test out the recommendations that we made in the previous project. And I suppose one thing I didn't say in the Gaelic interview is that what we're trying to do is it's a three-pronged approach. We're trying to bring together the popular, the professional, and also the scientific to give the decisions that we make legitimacy, and that's something that perhaps we've lacked before. And it's a very collaborative approach. It's not a top-down approach. It's including all of the major stakeholders in Gaelic, because we all have equal ownership, and we should.
Okay, so just tease that up apart a wee bit. What will the team actually be doing? What does the work involve?
So we've been asked to deliver a number of deliverables, the most important of which, one is a one-stop shop, in a sense, an online place which will bring together all existing terminologies for Gaelic. So that will be a means for the board studi corpus, to come together, to look and to be able to make important decisions, informed by the scientific linguists, if you like, informed by the views of traditional Gaelic speakers, and also informed by the status language planners as well, like Board na Gaelic and so on and so forth, on what is actually imachi or suitable for Gaelic going forward. And once these collaborative decisions are made about what the correct word for a new term might be, that it will also then act as a means of spreading that out. And so it's really about making these things more collaborative and more available to everyone who's interested in Scottish Gaelic. So that's one of the things. The other things that we've been asked to do is to look at, let's say, some of the most crucial areas in grammar and the structure of Gaelic that people kind of struggle with, whether it's at school, whether it's in universities or in the workplace. So that's about the grammar of Gaelic. I'm not going to get into the details here, but there are general sort of issues and challenges that people have. So what we're going to do is we're going to speak to native speakers and see how are they using the Gaelic nowadays and what they would recommend, but also we're going to go in and use that linguistic corpus as well and see what that's telling us, because very often there are patterns that are not always visible to the naked eye, as it were, and to bring that together and to come up with recommendations for this board studi corpus, and then to disseminate, I suppose, the decisions that are made, so that it's easy. So when you sit down to write your birthday card or to write your report or your essay, you know that a lot of thought has gone into this, and these are the recommendations, and that we can be consistent. Now, in saying that, I'm not saying that we're going to undervalue the value of dialects. No, we're not absolutely not going to do that, because I actually personally have a professional interest in dialects and dialectology. I think that is where the richness of the language is. There has to be a certain amount of variation and variability, but at the same time, for some of the high registers in language, we need to have sort of a consolidated front. So we're again, this is highly collaborative. We're moving away, thankfully, from the days of the ivory towers where academics, they'd consult their books and they'd have their ideas and they would write a report and so on. This is highly consultative at every level. So we will consult with traditional native Gaelic speakers, because we want to know, what is happening within traditional Gaelic today. We want to consult with the professionals, the people who are working in the Gaelic world, the teachers, the broadcasters and so on. And we want to consult with the scientists. These are the linguists, the people who understand how languages generally work, but also the ways in which Gaelic works. So if you bring those three elements together, I think we will, it's the best way to advise ourselves on the best way ahead.
Great. So it's not just something for academics in ivory towers.
It's absolutely not for academics. This is about sort of from nursery school to university to beyond. It is about, obviously, very much about education, but it's also about the practical professional world, whether it's broadcasting, journalism, writing, creation of children's literature, whatever it is. It's for absolutely everyone, and that's what really enthuses me about this project.